Hey, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector or just love learning about rare finds, then today's video is one you definitely don't want to miss. We're going to be talking about the 1966 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that may look like just another regular quarter, but in reality, it could be worth up to $1.9 million. That's right, one of those quarters, thanks to its rare minting errors, has been known to fetch nearly $2 million at auction. So, how can a 25-cent coin end up being worth that much? Stay tuned as we dive into the history of the 1966 Washington quarter, the rare errors that make it so valuable, and how you can identify if you have one of these hidden treasures in your collection or even your spare change. Before we get into the specifics of the 1966 Washington quarter, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by artist John Flanagan and features a profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. For nearly 3 decades, the design remained unchanged, and the Washington quarter became an enduring symbol of American heritage. Over the years, the coin went through various stages of minting and modifications, but by 1966, the same design was still in circulation. It was a year before the United States Mint introduced significant changes to coinage and began phasing out silver in favor of copper nickel-clad compositions. While the Washington quarter continued to be a reliable and recognizable piece of U.S. currency, what collectors didn't realize at the time was that some 1966 quarters were going to have some very rare errors that would make them worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Now, let's talk about the 1966 Washington quarter itself. The 1966 quarter was part of the regular coinage minted that year, and like other quarters, it was produced in massive quantities to meet the demand for circulating coins. However, the 1966 quarter doesn't stand out and designate. It features the familiar George Washington portrait on the front and an eagle on the reverse. At first glance, a 1966 Washington quarter looks like any other quarter you've seen before, but there's something special about certain versions of this coin that make it incredibly valuable. So, how could a coin that's been in circulation for decades suddenly be worth $1.9 million? The answer lies in rare minting errors that occurred during production. Errors in coin production happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and these mistakes can create one-of-a-kind coins. These errors are highly sought after by collectors, and some of them can make a 1966 Washington quarter worth far more than its face value. Here are some of the key types of errors that make the 1966 Washington quarter worth so much. 1. Double die errors. One of the most common and valuable types of minting errors is the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck multiple times, causing the design to be doubled. In a 1966 Washington quarter, the doubling could appear on the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. The more prominent the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors often pay top dollar for double die coins, and in some cases, a 1966 Washington quarter with this error has been known to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. 2. Off-center strikes. Another rare error that can increase the value of a 1966 Washington quarter is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned on the minting press, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. Off-center strikes are rare, and coins with this error are highly prized by collectors. The more off-center the strike is, the more valuable the coin can be. 3. Clipped plancase. Occasionally, a coin is struck with the plancate that's not fully cut from the metal sheet, resulting in a coin with a clipped edge. These coins are rare, and a clipped plancate error on a 1966 Washington quarter can make it much more valuable than a regular quarter. The unique shape and design of clipped coins make them fascinating to collectors. 4. Die cracks and die clashes. Die cracks and die clashes occur when the minting dies used to strike the coins become damaged. A die crack can cause lines to appear on the coin, and a die clash can cause parts of the coin's design to overlap in unusual ways. These errors are particularly in. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector, or just someone who enjoys learning about valuable pieces of history, you're in for a treat today. We're going to dive into one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, the 1967 Washington quarter might seem like just another regular coin, but some versions of this coin have been sold for up to $1.7 million. That's right, a 1 quarter can be worth over $1 million. So, why is the 1967 Washington quarter so valuable, and what makes it stand out from the rest? Stick around as we explore the fascinating history of this iconic coin, the rare errors that make it so valuable, and how you can tell if you have one of these incredible finds in your collection or even your pocket change. Before we talk about the 1967 Washington quarter specifically, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by artist John Flanagan, and the coin features Washington's profile on the obverse, with an eagle on the reverse. The Washington quarter quickly became a staple of U.S. coinage, and its design remained largely unchanged for decades. However, by the time we reached 1967, the United States Mint had already gone through several decades of producing quarters with the same design. The Washington quarter continued to be a symbol of national pride and the legacy of America's first president. By the late 1960s, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of these quarters to meet the growing demand for coinage. Little did they know, some of these quarters would end up being incredibly valuable due to rare minting errors. Now, let's focus on the 1967 Washington quarter. The 1967 Washington quarter was part of the regular issue of quarters minted in that year. At first glance, the coin looks fairly typical. It has George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle in flight on the reverse. Like many coins minted in the 1960s, these quarters were produced in high quantities and were used as everyday currency. The 1967 Washington quarter is not inherently rare. Most of these coins can still be found in circulation or in people's collections, and they hold a value of about 25 cents. But, like many coins, the 1967 Washington quarter can be worth far more than its face value under the right circumstances. The secret to its value lies in the minting errors that occurred during production. So, what makes certain 1967 Washington quarters worth so much money? The answer lies in rare minting errors that occurred during the production process. When a coin is struck with an error, it becomes unique, which makes it highly valuable to collectors. There are a few types of errors that can make a 1967 Washington quarter especially valuable. 1. Double die errors. A double die error happens when the coin is struck more than once, causing the design to be slightly doubled. This can happen with any part of the coin, but it's most noticeable around the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." A double die error on a 1967 Washington quarter can increase its value dramatically, especially if the doubling is clear and well defined. 2. Off-center strikes. Another type of error that can make a 1967 Washington quarter worth a lot of money is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned on the minting press, causing the design to be misaligned or even partially missing. Off-center coins are considered rare and can be worth a lot more than face value, especially if they are significantly off-center. 3. Clipped plankett errors. Occasionally, coins are struck with a blank plankett that hasn't been fully cut from the metal sheet, resulting in coins with clipped edges. A clipped plankett error on a 1967 Washington quarter can make it look unusual and can be highly prized by collectors, especially if the clipping is noticeable and the coin is in good condition. 4. Die cracks and die clashes. These errors occur when the minting die becomes cracked or damaged during production. A die crack can leave visible lines across the coin, and a die clash can cause parts of the design to overlap in strange ways. These errors are rare and can make a 1967 Washington quarter stand out in a collection. You might be wondering, how much are these error coins actually worth? Well, they're Welcome back, coin collectors and enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic American coins, the Washington quarter dollar. But not just any Washington quarter, no a broken bar. We're talking about the 1981 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has a unique history and, believe it or not, the potential to be worth up to a staggering $1.4 million. The 1981 Washington quarter is part of a long-standing tradition of quarters that have been in circulation in the United States since 1932. The coin features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, created by artist John Flanagan. Washington's likeness has graced the quarter since 1932 and continues to be one of the most recognizable coin designs in history. But today, we're going to look closely at the 1981 quarter and why it stands out. You might be surprised to learn just how rare and valuable this coin can be. To understand the value of the 1981 quarter, we need to briefly explore its history. The U.S. Mint has produced Washington quarters in large quantities since their debut, but like many other coins, a small number of these quarters can sometimes be found with unusual characteristics that make them rare and desirable among collectors. The 1981 Washington quarter is part of a larger series of coins that were minted in Denver, marked with the D Mint mark. The 1981 quarter, like its contemporaries, was made of a copper-nickel clad composition, which means it's not as rare in terms of material. But here's where things get interesting. Coins of the 1980s were generally produced in large numbers, and most of them were used in regular circulation. However, the 1981 Washington quarter holds a specific distinction, as some of them are known to have been minted with striking errors. These errors can range from off-center strikes to doubled dies, and in some cases, they're so distinct and clear that they catch the attention of seasoned collectors and numismatists. One of the most significant and rare error types that collectors are after involves a unique double die feature, where the design is stamped more than once, creating a noticeable shift in the engraving. In particular, the 1981 Washington quarter that exhibits a double die error is among the most coveted in the coin collecting world. If you happen to find one of those quarters, you could be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. In fact, in some rare cases, this specific error has been known to fetch prices as high as $1.4 million at auction. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what makes this quarter so valuable? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. Only a small number of these error coins exist, and when they're sold, they often go for astronomical prices, especially when they're in mint condition and have been graded by professional organizations like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Coin grading is crucial when it comes to determining the value of any rare coin. A high-quality, well-preserved 1981 Washington quarter can be worth a significant amount more than one that has visible wear and tear. Coins that are graded as MS67 or higher, for example, can attract higher bids from serious collectors. In fact, some of the best specimens of the 1981 Washington quarter have fetched six figures at auctions. But if you're lucky enough to have one of those rare double die errors in near-perfect condition, you might just have $1 million coin on your hands. So, how can you tell if your 1981 Washington quarter is worth more than face value? First, look closely at the coin. Is there any noticeable doubling in the design? Specifically, look at the letters and numbers on the obverse, or front side, of the coin, particularly the word Liberty and the date. If you see any signs of doubling, you might have a rare example that could be worth a lot more than just a quarter. Next, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something super exciting for coin collectors and history buffs alike. We're going to talk about the 2021 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket right now, and could be worth a small fortune. Yes, you heard that right. Some of those quarters are valued at a staggering $1.1 million. So, if you've ever wondered about the history, value, and potential worth of this coin, you've come to the right place. Stick around to find out more. Before we get into the specifics of the 2021 P Washington quarter, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter in general. This coin, first introduced in 1932, was designed by John Flanagan to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The Washington quarter quickly became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. For decades, it featured a left-facing profile of George Washington on the obverse, with a striking eagle on the reverse. Over the years, the design has undergone a few changes, but the coin has remained a symbol of American heritage and patriotism. Fast forward to 2021, the U.S. Mint released a special version of the Washington quarter, and it's definitely catching the attention of collectors. The 2021 P Washington quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and it's part of a series that honors George Washington's life and legacy. What makes the 2021 P quarter stand out is not just its design, but the overall rarity and the small number of certain era coins that were produced. These coins are in high demand among collectors, and that's where the real value comes in. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question: just how much are these coins worth? Well, in general, a typical 2021 P Washington quarter can be found in circulation and is worth about its face value, 25 cents. However, this is where things get interesting. There are a few rare versions of the 2021 P Washington quarter that have been discovered, and some of these era coins have been selling for thousands of dollars and even up to $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.1 million. But what makes these coins so special? The most valuable versions of the 2021 P Washington quarter are those with rare minting errors. Some of these era coins include unusual features, like double strikes, off-center strikes, or even missing lettering. These mistakes make the coin unique, and as any coin collector knows, rarity is key to driving up the value. For example, a 2021 P quarter with the double die obverse error, where the image of George Washington appears twice, can be worth thousands of dollars. And while it's incredibly rare, there are stories of collectors finding these error coins in their change and selling them for amounts that could make any coin enthusiast's jaw drop. If you're lucky enough to find a 2021 P Washington quarter in your pocket change, how do you know if it's a valuable one? Here are a few tips to look out for. 1. Double die errors. Check the image of George Washington and the lettering. If you notice any doubling, this could be a key indicator of a valuable coin. 2. Off-center strikes. Look at the edges of the coin. If the design is misaligned, it could be a rare error coin. 3. Missing features. Sometimes, coins can come off the press without certain design elements, like the E pluribus unum motto, or even the date itself. These are considered error coins and could be worth a lot more. If you find one of those rare Washington quarters, you might be wondering how to sell it for the best price. The first thing you should do is have it professionally graded by a coin grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A professional grade can really help establish its true value. Then, you can either sell it through online marketplaces like eBay, or take it to a reputable coin dealer who specializes in error coins. Just remember, if you have a coin worth $1.1 million, you want to make sure you're selling it to the right buyer at the right price. So, there you have it. The 2021 P Washington quarter might seem like just another coin, but thanks to rare minting errors, it could end up being worth a small fortune. If you happen to have one of these in your collection or even find one in Y. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a fascinating topic to dive into, the 1998 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like just another quarter, but there's so much more to this coin than meets the eye. Some of these 1998 quarters are worth a lot of money, like $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million. In this video, we're going to explore the history behind this iconic coin, how certain errors have made it incredibly valuable, and how you can identify if you have one of these rare, high-value coins. Trust me, You won't want to miss this. Before we get into the specifics of the 1998 Washington quarter, let's take a brief look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by artist John Flanagan, the coin has become one of the most recognizable pieces of U.S. currency since its inception. The Washington quarter has undergone several design changes, but one thing has remained constant. The obverse of the coin features a profile of George Washington, while the reverse features an eagle in flight. On most versions, over the decades, the quarter has had several design changes, but the coin has remained a cornerstone of U.S. currency. Fast forward to 1998, the Washington quarter was part of the regular series of coins minted during that year, and it continued to feature the classic design that collectors know and love. While the standard 1998 Washington quarter isn't worth much more than face value, it's the rare errors and special varieties that have really piqued the interest of coin collectors. The 1998 Washington quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, and like most quarters of the time, it had a typical circulation life. Most of these quarters were used as regular currency, so you can still find them in circulation today. The standard 1998 quarter is worth its face value of 25 cents, and for years, it wasn't considered a particularly valuable coin. However, as is often the case in the world of numismatics, things can change. Over time, collectors started to realize that certain 1998 quarters were more than just ordinary coins, so they contained rare minting errors that made them highly sought after. And these error coins are worth a lot of money, sometimes up to $1.3 million. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1998 Washington quarter so valuable. As with many other coins, minting errors are what really drive up the value. These errors happen during the production process and result in coins that have unique characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. A standard 1998 quarter may be worth just 25 cents, but if it contains one of these rare errors, it can be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. One of the most notable error types associated with the 1998 Washington quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the design is struck more than once during the minting process, causing the image to appear doubled. The double die error can appear on various parts of the coin, including the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." In some rare cases, the 1998 quarter has been found with off-center strike where the design is misaligned due to improper placement of the coin on the press. This results in coins that have parts of the design missing or overlapping at the edges. But the most exciting part, some of these error coins have been sold for astronomical amounts. One particularly rare example of a 1998 quarter, featuring a double die error, was auctioned off for a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. That's right, one quarter sold for over $1 million. You might be wondering, why do minting errors make these coins so valuable? The answer lies in rarity. Minting errors happen randomly and not every coin will experience the same error. In most cases, minting errors are corrected quickly, so finding one that escaped the correction process is a rare occurrence. Because of this rarity, collectors place a premium on these error coins. When you have a coin with a significant error, especially one that's not commonly found, the demand from collectors increases, which in turn drives up the value. A coin with a double die error or an off-center strike is unique, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for that rarity. If you have a 1998 Washington quarter, how can you tell if it's? Welcome back, coin collectors. If you're a fan of rare coins or if you're just getting into the fascinating world of numismatics, today's video will definitely spark your interest. We're going to be taking a closer look at one specific coin, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar. You may think it's just another ordinary quarter, but this coin has a history that could surprise you, and in some rare cases, it might be worth up to $1.3 million. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage for decades, and its design, created by John Flanagan, has remained remarkably consistent since its introduction in 1932. The 1990D Washington quarter is part of a long series of quarters minted at the Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark. But there's something special about the 1990D coin that makes it stand out. Before we dive into the value of the 1990D quarter, let's take a quick look at its history and the context behind its release. The 1990s were an interesting time for American coinage. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins each year to keep up with demand. The Washington quarter, a coin that's become an iconic part of the U.S. currency system, was still circulating in its traditional copper nickel-clad form. The design had remained unchanged for decades, with the reverse featuring an eagle and the obverse proudly displaying George Washington's portrait. But as with many coins, it's not just the year of minting that determines the value of a coin, it's the rarity, the condition, and, of course, any errors or special features that can make a specific coin truly exceptional. Like most coins from the era, the 1990D quarter was produced in large numbers, with millions of those quarters entering circulation across the United States. However, despite its widespread use, some of these coins were struck with notable errors that have made certain 1990D quarters very valuable in the coin collecting world. So, what kind of errors are we talking about? Well, the 1990D Washington quarter is known for a variety of potential minting mistakes. One of the most sought-after errors involves the double die feature, where the design appears to have been stamped multiple times, creating a noticeable shift in the details of the coin's engraving. If you look closely, especially around the word Liberty and the date 1990, you might notice a faint doubling effect. This is a telltale sign of a double die error, and it's one of the most important things collectors look for. Double die errors are incredibly rare, and when they're found, they can greatly increase the value of coin. For the 1990D Washington quarter, these double die examples have fetched significant prices at auction, especially when they're in high-grade condition. Some of these rare pieces have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars, but one coin, in particular, caused a sensation in the coin collecting world when it sold for over $1.3 million. Imagine that, a quarter, worth 25 cents in face value, selling for over $1 million. It's a reminder of how rare errors in coins, along with the condition and rarity of the piece, can lead to astronomical values. This 1990D Washington quarter wasn't just any ordinary coin. It was in pristine condition, graded by professional organizations like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, which confirmed its rare double die error. That's when collectors took notice, and the bidding quickly soared. So, how do you know if your 1990D quarter could be worth a lot more than its face value? It starts with examining the coin closely for any signs of a double die error or other minting mistakes. If you see any visible doubling in the inscriptions, especially around the Liberty or in God We Trust area, you may have found something special. Next, the condition of your coin matters. Coins that are well preserved, without scratches or heavy wear, are known as high-grade coins. If your 1990D quarter is in excellent condition, it's worth having it proof.